So today I want to show you another cool thing that you can do in Commander that only requires you to be playing one specific color. And a little while ago I did that video on how to win on turn 0 in Commander, but with that one you needed 6 of your 7 cards to be these specific cards, and also you had to be playing 2 colors. The thing with this combo though is you only need to be playing red, so you could be playing mono red or 5 colors or any combination in between, but you just need to have red in your deck. Another thing is this isn't going to win on turn 0, it's going to win on turn 2, but this is going to be a lot more reliable because you only need 5 specific cards. And with that being said, the chances of this happening on turn 2 are still going to be really low, but it's going to be quite a bit higher than that turn 0 win. Because if you're playing a 4-player game, you're going to start the game with 7 cards in hand, but you're also going to draw a card on the first draw step, even if you're going first. And then since this is a turn 2 win, you're going to get an additional draw step. So that actually provides some redundancy because there are multiple cards that exist that can provide the same functionality as some of these 5 cards that we need. And another thing with this combo is that it uses cards specifically from the Goblin tribe. Now you can play this combo in any deck that plays red, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you should. This card works definitely the best in a dedicated Goblin deck because you would be playing a lot of these cards in your deck anyway because they just work well with Goblin synergies, even outside of this combo. Okay, so now let's see how this combo works. So we're going to start playing through an imaginary game. So we'll say we've drawn our opening 7 plus our 1 for the first draw step. So on turn 1, we need to play a mountain or really any land that can produce red. And now just the same as with any other fast win, we're going to need a way to generate some extra mana. So we're going to play a mana crypt. That's not going to be quite enough because we need 4 mana on turn 1. So we're also going to tap this and have 1 mana left floating. Here is our 1 mana. And we're going to spend 1 mana to play Soul Ring. Now here's where a little bit of the redundancy comes into effect because this doesn't actually need to be a Soul Ring. This could also be something like a Mana Vault, which is probably a card that you would be playing in this deck anyway. So now that we've got access to 4 mana, we're going to use it to cast a spell, for which at this point there is no other card that exists that could take its place. We're going to use this to cast a Treasonous Ogre. So we'll use our floating colorless, our red, and 2 from Soul Ring to cast Treasonous Ogre. So this is a very popular red card to play in Commander, and let's take a look at it and see exactly why. So it costs 4 mana to play. It's a 2/3 Ogre Shaman with Dethrone. We don't really care about the Dethrone ability. What we care about is the second ability. It says pay 3 life, add red to your mana pool. And since in Commander you start with 40 life, this is going to allow us to generate a ton of mana as soon as we play it. We can get up to 13 mana from this creature. So now we've played 4 of the 5 specific cards that we need. There's just 1 left. We're going to use this and pay 6 life to add 2 red, and then spend the 2 red to play Goblin Recruiter. Let's take a look at what this does. Goblin Recruiter, it costs 2 mana. It's a goblin creature. It's a 1/1. It says, when Goblin Recruiter comes into play, search your library for any number of goblin cards, reveal them to all players, shuffle your library, then put the revealed cards on top of it in any order. So this is an old card, and it's also a very busted card because in a goblin deck, this allows you to stack your deck in any way that you want with any of your goblin creatures. So we play this, comes into play, and we start looking through our deck. So there are 4 specific goblins that we're looking for, and we can put them on top of our library in any order that we want. We're going to look for these 4 cards. We need Kiki Jiki, Mirror Breaker, Lightning Crafter, Skirk Prospector, and Goblin Ringleader. And the order in which we put them on top of our deck doesn't matter, except that we need to make sure that Goblin Ringleader is on top, so it's going to be the card that we draw for our second turn. So we put those on top of our deck, we let the turn cycle play out, and then we go to the second turn. We'll untap and draw our Goblin Ringleader that we put on top. So let's see what Goblin Ringleader does. It costs 4 mana. It has haste, it's a 2/2. It says, when Goblin Ringleader comes into play, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put all goblin cards revealed this way into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. So we put this into our hand. And then on our first main phase, we're going to play it. So we'll tap our Soul Ring, our Mana Crypt, and our Mountain, because we need 1 red mana to play this. So that means we're going to have 1 mana floating again. We're going to play Goblin Ringleader. When this enters play, we look at the top 4 cards of our library. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put all goblins into our hand, and then the rest onto the bottom of our library. This specific printing of the card doesn't specify whether it's in any order or in a random order, but for the sake of this combo, it really doesn't matter. So we're going to put this remaining card on the bottom of our library, because all that we really care about is getting these 3 cards. So the first of these that we want to play is Skirk Prospector. So that costs just a red mana. We're going to use Treasonous Ogre. We'll pay 3 life to add a red, and then use it to play Skirk Prospector. I'm going to use this die to keep track of how much life we've paid so far. We've paid 9 life in total. So now we've got Skirk Prospector in play. Let's take a look at what this does. It's a goblin, it's a 1/1. It says sacrifice a goblin, add red to your mana pool. So this is another one which could provide some redundancy, because all that you need is a goblin, which is a sacrifice outlet. There are several goblins that exist, but this is by far the best one, because it also gives you some mana, which you can use to, not have to pay so much life. Next, we're going to play our Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker. Let's take a look at what this one does. It costs 5 mana. It has haste. It's a 2/2 goblin, and it says tap, put a token that's a copy of target non-legendary creature you control onto the battlefield. The token has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So we're going to use our 1 floating colorless, and we'll need to add 4 more mana. So we're going to pay 12 life with Treasonous Ogre to add 4 mana. So we've paid 9 plus 12. That's going to be, we've paid 21 life. But now we can play Kiki Jiki. You know what? There would be a better way to represent this. Say we started at 40, we've paid 21. That means that we're at 19 life. Next, we're going to play the final card that we got from Goblin Ringleader, this Lightning Crafter. So this costs 4 mana. It's a Goblin Shaman. It's a 3/3. It says champion a Goblin or Shaman. What that means is, when this comes into play, sacrifice it unless you remove another Goblin or Shaman you control from the game. When this leaves play, return that card to play. Also, it has tap. Lightning Crafter deals 3 damage to target creature or player. So when we play this, it's going to create an infinite combo with Kiki Jiki and Skirk Prospector, or any Goblin sack outlet that you have. So we need 4 mana, so we're going to pay another 12 life. We'll go down to 7. However, we don't actually need to go down to 7 because we have Skirk Prospector in play, so if we wanted, we have 2 other goblins here that we could sacrifice to Skirk Prospector to get 2 red, save ourselves 6 life. Either one of those methods would work by using this or Treasonous Ogre. We'll just say that we paid 12 life to get 4 mana and play Lightning Crafter. So let's just make some room here. So Lightning Crafter comes into play. When it comes into play, its enter the battlefield ability is going to trigger. So we need to champion a Goblin or Shaman. We're going to target our Kiki Jiki. However, with this ability on the stack, we're going to use our Kiki Jiki and tap it to create a copy of Lightning Crafter. So now another Lightning Crafter comes into play. It enters the battlefield. It's also going to target Kiki Jiki. We let this ability resolve, so now Kiki Jiki is exiled by the copy of Lightning Crafter. The ability from this Lightning Crafter is still on the stack though, but we can do everything else we need to do at instant speed. So since Kiki Jiki gave this copy of Lightning Crafter haste, we can use this second ability to tap it and do 3 damage to any target. So we'll target one of our opponents and do 3 damage to them. Next, we're going to use Skirk Prospector to sacrifice this copy of Lightning Crafter to add a red. When this leaves play, the copy of Lightning Crafter, Kiki Jiki is going to come back into play. Now that Kiki Jiki is in play, it has haste, so we can use its ability again. We're going to tap it. Still, while this ability is on the stack, we're going to make a copy of Lightning Crafter again. copy of Lightning Crafter comes into play and champions Kiki Jiki, and we're basically just going to repeat this as many times as we want. This is an infinite combo, so we can just use this as many times as we want to keep doing 3 damage to any target. So you can just keep on doing 3 damage to an opponent until they've lost the game, and then go on to the next opponent, do 3 damage to them until they've lost the game, and keep doing that until you win. So we tap this, do 3 damage, we use Sker Prospector, sacrifice this, Kiki Jiki comes back into play, tap this, make a copy of Lightning Crafter, and rinse and repeat. And that's how you can win the game on turn 2. Now, people that are very familiar with Kiki Jiki are probably not surprised by this, because you would know that Kiki Jiki is responsible for many different infinite combos. You can do a lot of really busted stuff with this card, but what I like about this combo is that, what I mentioned earlier, you'll only need red cards as well as artifacts, but also these cards work well independently of each other. Like, these are just good cards that you would play in a goblin deck. But really, Kiki Jiki itself is just a good red card that you would play in many other red commander decks. So even if you don't start the game with, the perfect 5 cards that you need, even if you have, say, 2 or 3 of these, you can just play them out and use them as good cards in your deck to work until you do work your way to getting the rest of the combo. And none of these cards are new. The newest one is Treason's Ogre from Conspiracy 1, which is, quite a few years old at this point. And as for the rest of the cards in the deck, this is a Goblin Tribal deck, so this is my Grenzo Havoc Razor deck. It was originally my Krenko Mob Boss deck. I did deck techs actually for both of the versions of this deck. It originally was Krenko, but then I swapped out the commander for Grenzo and changed it up a little bit. But all these cards still work quite well in it. So that's what I wanted to show you today. It's not a turn 0 win, but a turn 2 win is still quite good, I think. And this is one that you actually have a decent chance of pulling off. I'm sure, though, that there are probably ways that this could be improved on, some cards that I didn't think about or hadn't even considered. So definitely let me know what you think. What do you think of this deck or this combo? Are there any cards that I don't have in here that you think I should include? I feel like there probably is a way to make this a turn 1 win. I was trying to figure it out. Like, maybe if you had a specific 7 cards in your hand, or maybe even 6, like you could use some rituals or something, or like Ancient Tomb, or just some way to get some more fast mana. I was trying to get this to work on turn 1, but I just didn't have enough life to play out everything with Treasonous Ogre, but I feel like there probably is a way to get this to work on turn 1. So if you know what that way is, let me know. If you're still watching though, thanks for watching. It'd be cool if you can like and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I'd encourage everyone to come check out the 8th Place Dave Discord server. There's a link to that in the video description below. And I'd like to take a moment to thank all the patrons who support me on Patreon. If you're interested in joining that, you can find a link to that in the video description as well. Otherwise though, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. This video is brought to you by 401 Games. Visit 401games.ca and use code 8thPlaceDave at the checkout to receive a 10% discount on your purchase of any TCG singles.